welcome back. This week we're at Fuji Speedway for round 9 of the Clarkson James GT3 Season 4. It's only got a couple of rounds to go and it's getting very close. After last week's fight at Watkins Glen, in the pros, Harry Hartley-Price leads it from Andy White, who's just behind, 39 points behind, as John McLuhan in third on 222, and Simon Cheshire and Peter Duke fourth and fifth there, a little way behind. In the AMs, we have Sean Clark in first, 240 points, and Mark Vero is only 18 points back in second. There's no other contenders for AM, so it's between those two for the prize, and we'll see how it goes at Fuji. Unfortunately, Sean is not running, so it's all down to whether Mark can stay on the track, and then he can take the lead. Let's see how they line up on the grid. Right, so here we have the qualifying results, and as we see, we've only got a few AMs out again this time. So we've got Jean McLuhan qualifies in first place with Peter Sidcart in second, Simon Cheshire in third, Peter Duke is in fourth with Andy White in fifth, Scott Brown in sixth, and Jordan Hatfield joins us up in seventh, taking the lead qualifier for the AMs with Ian Carmichael in eighth, Tim Reed in ninth, Baz Cutting in 10th. That's your top 10. Then Mark Vero, who's got it all to do, is in 11th. Dean Sheesby is in 12th. Liam Fraser, 13. Byron Debelou is in 14th. Harry Hartley-Price back there in 15th. Craig Corish in 16th. Stephen Sloan in 17th. Oliver Shubskinski in 18th. And I think we have a few more there. We do. We have Robert Gregg in 19th. Jared Love in 20th. Scott Kostrick rounds us off in 21st. So let's go and join them for the beginning of the warm-up lap. So here we are. The pace car is starting to roll away, and Sean McLuhan leads them off. Round for the short parade lap. We do have the chicane here, which should be quite interesting. So Jean McLuhan, Peter Sidcart, Simon Cheshire, your top three. Peter Duke in there as well, as they come around for the final turn. We'll see the pace car go in now. So we come up the start finish straight, and just turning in. Pace car will go off to the right. And Jean McLuhan leads them up to the green light. Peter's staying very, very close in there. They're tightly bunched, those top four. And there goes your pace car. And we should see them go off any minute now. And Jean McLuhan's away. Peter Sidcart is not being caught napping. Peter dodges out to the outside. And he does just overlap Jean McLuhan there, but goes wide. So Sean McLuhan's able to hold in, but Peter has got the inside line. See whether he manages to hold it. McLuhan definitely getting a battle for his money this week. Peter hangs it round the outside, takes the lead, and unfortunately there, I think Simon Cheshire just went a bit wide. Peter Duke takes advantage and jumps in to second place. So already we have some interesting battles on track. John McLuhan and Andy White battling it out, and then we've got Simon Cheshire not far behind, with Scott Brown hanging on the back there as well. So Peter Sidcar is taking it away since he's got past McLuhan on that first lap. He's now built up a over a second lead to Peter Duke, as McLuhan's doing what he can to try and charge Peter Duke down and not let Peter get away. It may be too late though, but he has got the toe. McLuhan's got the toe, and I think he's done the job on Peter. He has there. He's got past him. So Peter Sidcar now going to be chased down by Jean McLuhan. Peter Duke just tucked in there behind. And Peter Duke has got Simon Cheshire on his tail, followed by Andy White, Scott Brown, Jordan Hadfield holding on up there in 7th, which is really good to see. Dean Shasby, unfortunately, has come a cropper there, dropped back. Peter Duke being hunted down by Simon Cheshire. Simon keeping the pressure on. He takes a cut there across the curb. Took as much as he could there without touching the grass. Losing control, but he manages to hold it. Peter still got the commanding lead of a second and a half for John McLuhan. Peter Duke's now fighting off Simon Cheshire, and I think that's costing these guys time, as they're nearly a second down to McLuhan. Duke and Cheshire could do with just tagging together, really, and trying to catch the front two. I think at this rate they're just letting them get away. They've got Andy White as well, and Scott Brown's not far behind either, and Scott's a tasty driver. So Simon Cheshire going up the inside on Peter Duke there. Yeah, and he manages to take him. So that's now Peter Sidcar, Jean McLuhan, Simon Cheshire. They've all got a second and a bit between them. Peter Duke is now back in 4th with Andy White in 5th. So Peter's now under pressure from Andy and Scott. It's where the battle is, because the first three are away and they spread out. Oh, as Andy goes a bit wide there. Peter's trying to stay in touch with Simon Cheshire, but that time is drifting. That gap is getting larger. All the while, Andy White and Scott Brown are still there on his tail. And once that gets above a second, I think Peter Duke has had it. He's under so much pressure from behind. Not sure he's going to be able to make that back. He'll get some draft here, but not much off of Cheshire. More so for White and Brown. Harry Hartley-Price back in 11th, making his way through the field. It's good to see. Him and Mark Vero just battling there. Mark needs to be mindful, as Harry is not his battle. His concern is to stay on track, but he does stay in front of Harry there. So now up front, the gap's winding out. We've got Andy White trying to chase down Peter Duke as we come into the chicane. Really tough chicane this. And then a right and a left. The car is all unbalanced through here. You go uphill, slight dip down, and then up and away. Turning back in on yourself before it dips down again. And then up to the right onto the start finish. That is a hell of a combination to try and stick with, that is. Maintain the speed and balance. And you see Andy White steering, twitching there as he tries to maintain traction coming around that final corner. The time is closing down now. The gap is shortening. Peter Duke is under threat here. I'm not sure Andy White will send it, but he's going to be close. No, he decides to back out. You can just hear the acceleration drop off. He is very close now, though. And the next sweeping turn, he ducks down the inside. Oh! Unfortunately, he loses it. Andy White has lost it. He's spun. And that's left Peter Duke off on his lonesome. He is 2.5 seconds back to Simon Cheshire. But there's now big gaps been left because of that unfortunate incident from Andy. Just lost control of the car, I think. I don't think there was any touching there. Ian Carmichael trying to make his way through the field. Trying to get past the amp, Jordan Hadfield. And it looks like, oh, Jordan gives a little touch. I think he was trying to stay out of the way, to be fair, as Ian and Tim go through. But obviously Jordan doesn't want to lose too much time because he's got Mark Vero a couple of cars behind, and Mark is not slow. Although Harry Hartley-Price is now past Mark Vero, up into 10th. There. So Liam Fraser is next to try and get past Jordan Hadfield. He's got the old lights on. As the pro driver comes up the inside of Jordan. Jordan doesn't really need to do anything too much. Probably brake a little bit early into turn one will be enough. Oh! And Liam Fraser, I don't know what happened there. Did he miss his braking point? We focused so much on getting past Jordan Hadfield, and yeah, look at all that traffic go flying past him. Really in trouble there, unfortunately. In the mix here, we've now got Andy White right in the middle of all of these AMs fighting for position. Oliver's in there somewhere as well. But we've got Dean Shasby, newcomer Jared Love, and Robert Gregg just tried to send it down the inside of Andy White. That didn't work out too well as Robert disappears to the back there. Poor old Robert. Anyway, Andy White having a hell of a time here, mixing it with these guys. Right, go a bit further up the order, and Craig Corish now. Got Mark Vero between him and Harry Hartley-Price. And not far behind Craig is Baz Cutting. We've just lost Oliver Szybczynski. Looks like he's gone for a spin. Craig now chasing Mark Vero down. Number 18 car. Trying to get past the number 10. Trying to find a way around, but it's not quite happening there for him, unfortunately. As Byron Debelu just made a move on Baz Cutting just behind there. Baz now back in 12th. 13th. As Byron's up to 12th. We're on board with Craig Corish. Craig trying to find a way around Mark Vero so he can see if he can get back in touch with Harry just up the road there, and the rest of the pro drivers. He'll probably complete this move if he manages to stay on the tail of him up the start finish straight. We'll have to see how it goes. Oh, and he loses. You see here the revs drop there, and he dropped back a bit, unfortunately. And as they come up the start finish, don't think it's close enough, but Tim Reed is. And Tim Reed is off and past Ian Carmichael. Tim Reed's up into 6th. Having a good time of it. Getting past Ian Carmichael. 4 seconds up the road to Scott Brown. Now we've got Stephen Sloan on the back of Liam Fraser. It was Liam earlier who missed his braking point in T1. Ended up all the way back here. I don't know whether he's damaged his car, but Stephen Sloan is certainly trying to hunt him down. That gap has widened up now as we go back up to Craig Corish, desperately trying to get past Mark Vero. But doesn't seem to be happening. So in the meantime, we've got Baz Cutting trying to get past Byron here. Byron passed him on the last lap. Baz gets a bit more traction through there, but it's still over half a second of a gap. And unfortunately, it's not going to be enough tow up the start finish straight. There's a battle going on up front though. Simon Cheshire is now back in touch with Jean McLuhan. So whilst Peter Sidkart is a second out front, see Simon Cheshire up here trying to chase McLuhan down. Peter Duke another 5 seconds behind, and Scott Brown just in touch with Peter Duke. He's back in 5th. Simon Cheshire pressing hard. You can see that interval time coming down. Just stretches out as they break into the final corner, final chicane there. Or the only chicane. But that time tightens up again. We go around the left-hander that brings them around and onto the start-finish straight now. Simon Cheshire is very much in touch with John McLuhan here. Yeah, it's all got quite close up front. Simon Cheshire hunting down McLuhan as 3/10 turns to 2/10. Bit early to go for the inside there. He tries to put in the dummy nonetheless. McLuhan's wise enough not to fall for that. Slightly behind Scott Brown. Had Peter Duke under pressure there for a while, but Peter's managed to separate the gap. And has just maintained that for now. All the while, McLuhan in this sandwich here, Cheshire behind him and Sikar in front. Peter's maintaining that second gap. Back to Jean McLuhan and Simon Cheshire. Just half a second behind. But again, that time difference starts to fall as they come through the final section. Will Cheshire stay in touch this time? He is quite a bit closer. He's at least a tenth closer. Oh, but he separates out. But does get a good acceleration away now. He is over a tenth closer this time. Doesn't sound like a lot. But with that toe, that's going to put him in with a chance for a late braking opportunity. Coming down into T1. McLuhan dives for the inside, trying to get Cheshire out of the toe. Very clever manoeuvre there, and actually puts Cheshire to the outside. So there's no way you going through there, boy. I've got you covered. I've got you. But Cheshire, not listening, tries to do the dummy down the inside. Nothing happening. McLuhan's too wise to that. Yeah, good little battle. Keeping it clean. I just loved that take to the inside by McLuhan on the start-finish straight. Get out of my toe. You're not having any help from me. And he covers the inside at the same time. Brilliant manoeuvre. Come around the chicane again. Look at Cheshire doing everything he can. Cut that corner. I don't know whether that will give him some instant points, but he's probably not worried as long as he stays below the penalty threshold. Do everything he can to try and close this gap before the start-finish straight, but I don't think it's coming down this time as readily as it did before. I think it's going to be a little while longer before we get back there. So he is in the toe again, but he only gets it down to 3/10 by the end of the entry to the pit lane. Yeah, and then backs off. There's no way he's diving through there with that amount of distance to cover. Just not going to happen. Petty Duke's good 6.5 seconds behind, so Simon is just under no pressure whatsoever. Jean McLuhan has got it all to do, but I think he welcomes the challenge. The last few races, he's had it a bit his own way, and certainly not this time. Simon Cheshire, I'm not quite sure what is going on there. As McLuhan moved to the outside for the chicane, Cheshire stayed on the inside. Look at that cut again. Goes straight over the sausage curb. Now he really is within touching distance this time. Oh, did McLuhan go wide on purpose there to get the traction in and cut back in? Not quite sure whether he drifted a bit. But they've both got very good traction away. Dancing all over the place here. Trying to stay in the toe, one of them. Oh, it's quite great, good to watch. I'm sure they shouldn't be moving about that much, but there you go. Doesn't manage to close the distance down by enough to take the dive up T1. But Simon definitely knows he's got his hand full if he wants to get past. He's going to have to think of something else, because it doesn't look like the start-finish straight is going to be the place where he's going to manage it. not for the time being. Now, in previous rounds, we've seen Simon do wonderful things with his pit stops. Maybe it needs one of those to get past McLuhan. Peterson car's away, so I don't think we got to worry about that as long as Peter keeps it on track. I think that's job done for him. It's just Jean and Simon battling for second and third, giving us the entertainment here. And there is no way Jean McLuhan is being bullied by Simon Cheshire. He doesn't even bother weaving this time. He knows Cheshire is too far behind to do anything but the most stupid of dives, which he's not going to do, of course. Right, as we're coming up to halfway through the race, let's give you a rundown. We've got Peter Sikar out front by 2.3 seconds for Jean McLuhan. Simon Cheshire tucked in behind, just a few tenths behind in third. Peter Duke 8 seconds behind there. Scott Brown only half a second behind Peter Duke there, so there's a potential for Scott Brown back there to be doing some stuff. If we nip all the way down to the AMS, you see Jordan Hadfield. Jordan here running round in first place for the AMS. He's got Ian Carmichael in front of him and Harry Hartley-Price. Good way back there. Nothing much doing. There is another little battle going on just outside the top 10 though. We have Byron heading up a field of 4 cars behind him. Craig Corish, Baz Cutting, Dean Chaseby and Andy White all in the picture here. All of those desperate for that 11th place. So some pretty close battling going on here, to be certain. Craig Corish probably losing a bit of time because of the pressure that Baz Cutting's putting on him. Dean Chaseby doing well as an AM in the mix there, holding his own. And as we come up the start-finish, Baz there, under pressure from Dean. Craig's dropped back. Craig dived into the pits. So, on the inside, Dean Chaseby, what a manoeuvre. Good and manoeuvre on a season pro at that. Probably need to look at the classifications for Dean for next season. Unless he's just having a really good night. But yeah, good pass there, Dean. So Craig's in the pits. And Baz just trying to do what he can to get that back. Stephen Sloan a bit behind, further behind there. So let's go back to the front and see what Simon Cheshire is up to. He's certainly very close on the tail still. Jean McLuhan, he's not letting him get away. Jean McLuhan dives to the inside, makes like he was going to go in the pits there. This weaving's not really cricket, lads. Good fun to watch. I'm not sure you should be doing it, really. Get out my toe, mate. Anyway. They've not taken each other out yet. Commentator's curse coming there. I'm sure they'll have a giggle about this afterwards. I've got to say, if I was sitting in Simon's shoes, I'd be a little frustrated. But credit to McLaughlin, he is really holding him off, and he's, you know, not really taking any chances in holding him off either. Just maintaining that gap, really. Here we go again. Now, Cheshire is, or was, well within reaching distance. Let's see how it balances itself out as they come up once again with just under 20 minutes to go. Simon Cheshire is closing that gap. To be fair, McLaren doesn't bother moving across this time, and Cheshire doesn't find anything that he can actually take advantage of there. So, yeah, not a lot to be done. As we have some diving into the pits now. Peter Duke, Liam Fraser and Stephen Sloan have all gone into the pits on lap 17. Probably their lap 16. Yep, their lap 16. So in they go all the time. Now, Tim Reed is back in the picture and on the tail of Scott Brown. Neither of these are pitted, so this is for real-time position. Oh, a large chunk of that corner taken by Tim there. Can't imagine that is anything. It got to be at least an incident point, if not a slowdown. But he still maintains the distance. As we get Stephen Sloan, Oliver Shasinski and Jared Love coming out of the pits now. Not going to get in these guys' way. Whoa. Great battle. Backwards and forwards. Tim takes Scott and Scott nabs it back again. And we come up to start finish. I think you see Jordan going into the pits there just behind. Tim Reed is really, really close on the back of Scott Brown. Scott Brown, a very seasoned driver, maybe doesn't race so much in the GT3s as the others, but he certainly knows how to place a car. Tim trying to go up the inside, and he does. He makes the manoeuvre, completes it, and through. Scott doesn't put up much of a fight. Probably going into the pit shortly, so Tim will have that. And here's our other battle, which is Simon Cheshire on the back of John McLuhan. And anything around the 3/10 mark is close enough to get a decent tow up the start finish. So let's see where it ends up, and it is about that. Now, will McLuhan let him? I'm not going to say let him pass, but no, he goes to break the toe yet again. Now this time, Simon is very, very close. Right, so didn't just break the toe. He took the inside, the defensive line. That was an excellent bit of driving. He would have got past. Otherwise, he would have got past him there without a doubt. And Cheshire is definitely putting him under massive pressure now. Goes to the inside. Oh, doesn't quite hold it. Sean McLuhan has taken a very tight line there. Will he have enough to be able to hold it? Because Simon Cheshire is going to have the inside as he comes to this sweeping left-hander, and he's passed. Simon Cheshire is past Jean McLuhan. Just looking, did Peter... Yep, Peter Sidcar pitted. So Simon Cheshire has got the temporary P1. Now, Simon Cheshire has got it all to do, because I can't imagine Jean McLuhan is going to let that go lightly, although that gap is growing. That fight might have just worn on him, or he might just be ready to go in the pits. And thinking it's not worth the pressure, although that gap now is around a second. So that is surprising. He's let it grow that much. Maybe he just needs a bit of a break, because it was such a tough battle. And that does look like a pit entry for McLuhan. Yeah, and that was what that was all about. It was backing off for going in the pits. Didn't fancy too much pressure there. Right, so 32 minutes down, 13 minutes to go. Simon Cheshire is yet to pit. Jean McLuhan, Tim Reed in the pits. M. Carmichael in the pits. As just Simon Cheshire, Scott Brown, 1 and 2 out front, have not pitted. Byron Debalou is in the pits. And Baz Cutting is in the pits. So, apart from the top 3 now, everyone has pitted. So, what really is the battle here is Simon Cheshire going to be able to pit and come out in or around Peter Sidcar? That's what we don't know. Peter's only 7 seconds behind Simon, so that battling with McLuhan earlier may have actually cost him. But it looks like McLuhan's in touch with Peter anyway. I should think Simon's got to go in here. I can't imagine he's got enough fuel to get another lap in. If he has, he may have just been saving some fuel. No, he's in. I was going to say he may have been saving some fuel from sitting behind McLuhan, but he was fighting really hard. So Simon goes into the pits. We'll switch over to watch Jean McLuhan. He's good 6.5 seconds behind Peter there. So he's a long way off. So this is all about Simon Cheshire and Scott Brown are also in. It's all about where Simon Cheshire comes out. We see that. We've got to see that pit exit coming up for green. It does. It's on green now. Now Simon's going to be going a lot slower. It does depend how far up the pit lane he is. But it is going to be tight, is it? As they come round. No, I don't think it is. I think Simon is way out there. He's out and done. He is. Simon is out and done. Just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. He's turned what was a 1 second gap into a 3.5 second gap in a pit stop. That is not the first time he's done that. Need to be getting some pit stop lessons off of Simon Cheshire, I think. Because to increase that gap through a pit stop alone is just amazing. Now the theory is he will have been running lighter than the others for one lap because he would have had less in the tank because he stayed out longer. He wouldn't have needed to put so much in either on balance. Only got 10 minutes to go, but we're talking about fine margins here. Very fine margins, and if you remember, McLuhan was just under a second behind him when McLuhan went into the pits. That is, that's over 2 seconds he's gained. That is absolutely fabulous. Right. In the meantime, our second place AM in the standings is in first place in the AM for this round, which is awesome. So Mark, if he can hold on to this, is going to take all 45 points, and that's going to put him 20 odd points ahead of Sean Clark. So that's going to be a battle for the last 2 rounds. He's, of course, got to hold on to it. He's got Baz cutting behind him, but different battle there. So there's no fight going on there. Jordan Hadfield, he's third in the AMS. He led for such a long way in this, so obviously had some issues here and there that we may not have seen. It's just under 8 minutes to go. Baz putting a little bit of pressure on Mark Vero now, wanting past him. Baz wanting to get up into the top 10 and probably wants to get on the back of Byron, try and gain that place as well. As Dean Shakespeare gains another place, overtaking Mark Peter Duke in the background for 11th and 12th. Dean doing a really good job there. Great bit of driving. And here we go. Baz is very much in touch with Mark Vero. We come down the start finish. He's got the drag on him. Honestly, I think Baz was being very polite there. But if Mark doesn't get the hurry up, he's going to have him in the next 2. No, Baz has backed off. Thought better of it. Live to race another day. So out front, Peter Sicard has now got a commanding lead of 3 seconds, but it's then 3.5 seconds back to Jean McLuhan, and then a further 16 seconds back to Tim Reed. So the top 3 have really extended it. Scott Brown holding on there to Tim Reed in 4th and 5th. The only other real battle we've got going on is in front of us. Not one for track position only. But, Baz is just trying to find a way past this AM driver who's got wide elbows. Can't quite find it. Let's go a bit further down the field. We've got Stephen Sloan, a new driver to the league, chasing down Robert Gregg, who's only been with us a few weeks. So these two battling out back in 16th and 17th overall. But this is... and Jordan Hadfield drops back a place. So whilst there's a bit of a gap between Jordan and Robert, this is the battle for 4th and 5th in the AMS. So it is worth a fight. And here we go. Stephen Sloan. He's got the toe, almost certainly is well within reach. If he can do it under braking, this will be good. Does he have the skill to hold on? Oh, not quite. Robert Gregg manages. It does go wide though. Robert does go wide. He will have the inside line coming into the next corner, and that may well seal the deal there, and it does for now anyway. Yeah, Robert Gregg just holding Stephen Sloan off there. Mark Vero slipping down the field. What's happened to Mark? Not quite sure there. But this battle for 16th and 17th is quite close. Mark Vero's in the pits. Not again, Mark. Mark's in trouble yet again. With only a few minutes to go to the end of the race. Stephen Sloan. Right, he's for the inside this time on Robert Gregg. Has he got him? He's got him. He's done him this time. He's got past him. And he's pulling away. But it's all in the braking zones. Who can brake later? Yeah, this level, I think Stephen's now got that. And now he's passed. He's probably going to fly away with only a few minutes to go. Whoa! And Robert Gregg loses it. Oh, man, it's a great save. Bit of drifting going on there from Mr. Gregg as he comes round the corner. It's cost him another place, though. But only, well, to a pro, so not a place overall. Oh, great bit of driving there. Well, good save. Dean Shasby moves up into 10th. And now becomes the first of the AMs. Mark Vero still in the pits. We've got a couple of minutes to go. Mark's on the pit exit. Carry on bringing this out. Got Dean Shasby under pressure from Peter Duke. This is a pro-am battle here. Not really a fight for places. So Dean leading the AMs there, doing a good job. And then we've got Jordan Hadfield, who was leading for such a long time. In 13th, under pressure from Andy White, but is in second place. Right. We go back up front to Peter Sidcart. Sorry, Peter, we haven't seen much of you today, but you've run away with it. With 30 seconds of the time to go on the clock. Coming down to the end of the race now. And there's a few swapping of places going on further down the field on the final lap. But Peter's got a commanding lead of 3.5 seconds from Simon Cheshire. Jean McClellan in third. It's looking good. And through the chicane. Should be for the final time. Sure the guys will be glad to see the end of that chicane. Excellent drive here by Peter. Absolute masterclass. Once he was past McLuhan, he was away. There was no getting that back. and then a great entertaining battle. So well done, Peter. First place, good return to the series. Nice to see you back again. Simon Cheshire, well done for second. Great battle there with Jean McLuhan coming in third. And guys, I've got to say, you gave us some great entertainment there. A bit of weaving on the start-finish straight, but it all worked out well. No animals are harmed in making this commentary, so that was good. Tim Reed comes over in fourth, Scott Brown in fifth, Ian Carmichael in sixth, and then we've got a whole bunch of them. Harry Hartley Price coming over in seventh, Byron in eighth, Baz Cutting in ninth, Dean Shasby 10th. Over the line first for the AMs. Well done, Dean. That's a great showing there. We got definitely got some weaving going on back there, guys. Craig Corish and Andy White going for it, trying to get out of each other's way. Brilliant. Jordan Hadfield in second place for the AMs. Stephen Sloan, really good showing there in third. Liam Fraser, Robert Gregg, great save there, Robert. Oliver's in 18th, Jared in 19th. And Mark Vero has got the points. He's got some points. Will it be enough? We shall see if he can got enough points to actually take over the lead. Right. Let's go see the official results, shall we? So the official results in Pro, we have Peter Sicart from Simon Cheshire and Jean McLuhan. That's your top three. Tim Reed in fourth. Scott Brown in fifth. Ian Carmichael in sixth. Harry Hartley Price in seventh. Eighth is Byron Debelou. Ninth is Baz Cutting. 10th, Peter Duke. Craig Corish in 11th. Andy White in 12th. Liam Fraser in 13th. Oliver Subzinski in 14th. And Scott Kostrick in 15th. Following that, we have the AMs. Slightly larger field this week. One more than we have been having. So we've got Dean Shasby with his first win. Well done, Dean. That is absolutely fabulous. Jordan Hadfield in second. Stephen Sloan, good show in there in third. The drifter that is Robert Gregg in fourth. Jared Love in fifth. Well done, Jared. Your first showing out with us. And Mark Vero, a lap down, but he scores points. Will it be enough? Well, to find out, come back next week when we have totted up the score and we'll know where everyone is in the standings. Next week we are at Sebring, so that should be just as much fun as Fuji, really. It has its own challenges, does Sebring. Fantastic track, and has some great corners, lots of passing opportunities. Should be as much fun as Fuji was today. Right, so let's get in the steward's office and see what I've got to say about the weaving. See you all soon, guys. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.